The conference room in Geneva was silent except for the soft hum of the translation devices. Jiho Kim sat at the long table, his hands folded carefully in front of him. As Earth's chief defense minister, he had seen many difficult meetings, but nothing like this. Across from him sat Ambassador Veltar, the Vrathan representative to Earth. The alien was tall and thin, with gray skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. His large black eyes showed no emotion as he spoke through the translator. "The Galactic Council has made its decision," Veltar said. His voice was cold and formal. "Humanity will be allowed to join our community, but there are conditions." Jiho felt a chill run down his spine. For 50 years, humanity had dreamed of joining the galactic community. They had worked hard to prove they were ready. Now finally the invitation had come, but Jiho could tell from Veltar's tone that it came with a price. "What conditions?" Jiho asked. Veltar touched a device on his wrist. A holographic document appeared above the table. The text was long and written in the formal language of galactic law, but the main points were clear enough. "During our observation period, we studied your species carefully," Veltar continued. "We watched your wars. We saw your weapons. We learned about your military history. The Council has concluded that humans are too violent for traditional warfare." Minji Park, who sat beside Jiho, leaned forward. She was the best aerospace engineer on Earth and had worked on every major space project for the past 20 years. Her face was calm, but Jiho could see the anger in her eyes. "What exactly are you saying?" Minji asked. Veltar's expression did not change. "Humanity is forbidden from building, buying, or operating any vessel that can be classified as a warship under galactic law. This ban is permanent and applies to all human colonies, territories, and space operations." The room fell silent. Jiho felt like he had been punched in the stomach. Earth's space fleet was small, but it was their pride. The ships represented everything humanity had achieved in space. They were symbols of human courage and determination. "You want us to destroy our fleet?" Jiho asked. "The existing ships must be dismantled within 6 months," Veltar replied. "Galactic inspectors will oversee the process to ensure compliance. Any attempt to hide or modify these vessels will result in immediate expulsion from the galactic community." Minji pulled out her tablet and began reading through the legal document. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen as she searched for details. Jiho watched her work, hoping she might find some way out of this trap. "What exactly counts as a warship?" Minji asked. Veltar gestured to the hologram. "The definition is comprehensive. Any vessel equipped with offensive weapons, military-grade armor, tactical systems, or designed primarily for combat operations. The law also covers support vessels like military transports and command ships." Jiho looked around the table at his team. They were the best minds in human defense and space technology. But right now they all looked defeated. This was not what they had expected when the aliens first made contact. "Why?" Jiho asked.
"Why are you doing this to us?"
For the first time, Veltar's expression changed slightly. A hint of what might have been discussed crossed his face. "Your species has fought wars for thousands of years. You have weapons that can destroy entire planets. You celebrate warriors and glorify combat. The galactic community values peace and cooperation. We cannot allow a warlike species to threaten that peace." "But we've been peaceful for decades," Minji protested. "We haven't had a major war in over 50 years. 50 years is nothing," Veltar replied. "Your recent conflicts may be small, but we have studied your history. Humans always return to violence eventually. This restriction is for the safety of all civilized species." Jiho felt his anger rising, but he forced himself to stay calm. Getting emotional would only prove Veltar's point about human aggression. Instead, he focused on the practical problems. "How are we supposed to defend ourselves?" Jiho asked. "What if pirates attack our ships? What if hostile aliens threaten our colonies?" "The Galactic Council provides protection for all member species," Veltar answered. "If you face a threat, you may petition the Council for assistance. Our peacekeeping forces will respond as resources allow." "As resources allow," Jiho repeated. He could hear the dismissal in those words. Earth would be at the bottom of the priority list, begging for scraps of protection from aliens who clearly thought humans were inferior. Minji continued reading through the document on her tablet. Occasionally, she would stop and read a section more carefully. Jiho hoped she was finding loopholes, but her expression remained focused and neutral. "The decision is final," Veltar said, standing up. You have 6 months to comply. Galactic inspectors will arrive next week to begin overseeing the dismantlement process. I suggest you begin preparations immediately. And if we refuse? Jiho asked. Veltar paused at the door. Then humanity remains isolated. No galactic technology, no trade, no protection, no membership in the community. You will be alone in a universe that has moved far beyond your primitive capabilities. After Veltar left, the room remained silent for several minutes. Jiho stared at the holographic document still floating above the table. 50 years of space development, destroyed with a few words on an alien legal document. We don't have a choice, Minji said finally. Without galactic technology, we'll never advance beyond this solar system. And if hostile aliens decide to attack Earth, we wouldn't stand a chance anyway. Jiho nodded slowly. She was right, of course. Earth's small fleet was impressive by human standards, but it was nothing compared to galactic technology. The aliens could destroy every human ship without effort. Start the preparations, Jiho said. But Minji, I want you to study that document carefully. Every word, every definition, every legal clause. Find out exactly what we're forbidden to do. And what we're not forbidden to do? Minji asked with a slight smile. Jiho met her eyes. Exactly. The aliens think they know humans. Let's see how well they really understand us. 6 months later, Jiho stood in Earth's orbital shipyard and watched the last human warship being cut apart by alien inspectors. But as he watched the dismantlement, he thought about the long conversations he had been having with Minji and her team. The aliens had been very specific about what humanity could not build. Perhaps it was time to build something else entirely. 6 months had passed since the last human warship was destroyed. Jiho Kim walked through the empty corridors of the Geneva Defense Complex, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Most of the building was closed now. Without a military fleet to manage, Earth's defense ministry had become much smaller, but not everyone had given up. In a secure conference room deep underground, Jiho had gathered a small group of the best minds on Earth. They met in secret, careful to avoid any attention from the galactic monitors that watched human activities. Minji Park was already in the room when Jiho arrived. Her tablet and several printed documents spread across the table. She had been working for months, studying every word of the galactic law that banned human warships. Her eyes were tired, but there was excitement in her voice. I think I found something, she said as Jiho sat down. The others began to arrive. Hyunwoo Lee came first, a former submarine commander who now worked as a strategic planner. He was followed by Soo-young Choi, a robotics expert who had designed some of Earth's most advanced automated systems. Last came Dong-Yun Kang, a theoretical physicist whose work with exotic matter had been ahead of its time. Before we begin, Jiho said, I want everyone to understand the risks. If the aliens discover what we're doing, Earth could be expelled from the galactic community. Everything we've gained would be lost, Hyunwoo nodded. We understand, sir. But sitting here defenseless isn't an option either. If another aggressive species decides to attack Earth, we'd be helpless. The galactic peacekeepers would protect us, Soo-young said, but her tone suggested she didn't believe her own words. Would they? Dong-Yun asked. They think we're violent primitives. How hard would they really try to save us? Jiho gestured to Minji. Show them what you found. Minji activated the room's holographic display. The galactic law document appeared, with certain sections highlighted in different colors. The text was dense and complicated, written in the formal style that all galactic laws used. I've been studying this for months, Minji began. The ban is very specific about what we cannot build. It uses the words warships, vessels designed for warfare, and military spacecraft throughout the document. She pointed to a highlighted section. Here's the key part. The law defines a warship as any spacecraft primarily designed, equipped or intended for combat operations, including but not limited to vessels equipped with offensive weapons systems, military-grade defensive systems, or tactical command and control capabilities. Hyunwoo frowned. That sounds like it covers everything military. It covers everything that looks like a traditional warship, Minji corrected. But notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't ban us from building industrial equipment or civilian spacecraft or commercial platforms. Soo-young leaned forward. You're talking about a technicality? I'm talking about a fundamental gap in their thinking, Minji replied. The aliens wrote this law based on their understanding of warfare. They think in terms of ships designed for fighting. But what if we designed something that wasn't technically a ship at all? She changed the display to show a new document. I've been researching civilian space projects that the galactic community has approved for other species. There's a whole category called industrial platforms that operate in deep space. The display showed images of massive structures floating in space. They were huge, much larger than any warship. Some were mining platforms that processed asteroids. Others were manufacturing stations that built products in zero gravity. These aren't considered ships under galactic law, Minji explained. They're classified as mobile industrial facilities. They have their own power systems, life support, transportation capabilities, and defensive systems to protect against space debris. Donghyun's eyes lit up. Defensive systems? Oh yes, Minji smiled. Mining operations in asteroid fields need powerful lasers to break up rocks. They need high-velocity projectile systems to clear debris. They need advanced sensors to track thousands of objects moving at high speeds, and they need automated systems to coordinate all of this without human supervision. The room fell silent as everyone began to understand what Minji was suggesting. You want to build mining platforms, Hyunwoo said slowly. Mining platforms that just happen to have all the capabilities of a warship. Not warships, Minji corrected. Industrial equipment. Completely civilian, designed for mining operations in the asteroid belt and outer system. Soo-young was already thinking ahead. The automation would be the key. No human crews to put at risk. Everything controlled by artificial intelligence systems designed for mining operations. Exactly, Minji said. And since these would be civilian industrial platforms, they wouldn't fall under military command. They'd be operated by private companies working under commercial contracts. Jiho had been listening carefully. What about weapons? Even mining lasers can't match military-grade weapons. Minji's smile grew wider. Actually, they can. A laser powerful enough to break apart a metallic asteroid can certainly damage any known spacecraft hull. And a mass driver designed to launch processed ore across the solar system can deliver projectiles at incredible velocities. She brought up technical specifications on the display. The galactic community has no restrictions on civilian industrial equipment. A mining platform could legally carry lasers more powerful than anything in our old fleet. It could launch projectiles faster than any missile. And it could do all of this while claiming to be engaged in perfectly legal mining operations. Donghyun was studying the physics. The power requirements would be enormous. We'd need advances in reactor technology, which we're allowed to develop, Minji pointed out. Deep space mining operations need tremendous amounts of power. No one questions why an industrial platform needs a massive reactor. Hyunwoo was thinking strategically. How many platforms could we build before anyone notices? That's the beautiful part, Minji replied. The more successful our mining operations become, the more platforms we'd naturally need. We could have dozens of them spread throughout the solar system, all doing legitimate mining work. But ready to defend Earth if necessary, Soo-young added. Defend Earth by clearing dangerous space debris that threatens shipping lanes, Minji corrected with a grin. Completely civilian safety operations. Jiho looked around the table. For the first time since the aliens had delivered their ultimatum, he felt hope. This plan was audacious, but it might actually work. What do we need to get started? He asked. Minji pulled out another document. I've already drafted a proposal for a civilian space mining corporation. We'll need funding, construction facilities, and a lot of very talented engineers who can design mining equipment that meets our special requirements. And we'll need to be very careful, Hyunwoo warned. If the aliens suspect what we're really building, this whole plan falls apart. They won't suspect, Donghyun said confidently. They think they understand humans. They expect us to either accept their restrictions or try to break them directly. They won't expect us to work around them legally. Jiho stood up. Then let's get to work. Minji, start setting up the corporation. Hyunwoo, I want detailed plans for how these platforms would operate. Soo-young, begin designing the AI systems. Donghyun, figure out the power and propulsion requirements. As the team prepared to leave, Jiho felt a sense of satisfaction. The aliens thought they had neutered humanity by taking away their warships. Instead, they had forced humans to become more creative than ever before. One more thing, Jiho said as they reached the door. Remember, we're not building weapons. We're building mining equipment. Even among ourselves, that's how we need to think about this project. Minji nodded. Mining equipment that just happens to be very, very good at clearing space debris. Exactly, Jiho replied. After all, space is a dangerous place. You never know what kind of debris might threaten civilian mining operations. 2 years had passed since Jiho's secret meeting in Geneva. Now, in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, something remarkable was taking shape. Tae-hyung-yoon floated in his pressure suit outside construction platform Alpha, watching as automated builders assembled the first operational deep space mining platform. The structure was massive, stretching over 3 kilometers from end to end. To any observer, it looked exactly like what it claimed to be: an industrial facility designed to process asteroids into useful materials. But Tae-hyung knew better. He had helped design every system on this platform, and each one served a dual purpose. Platform 7 is coming along nicely, came a voice in his helmet radio. Yoon Ji-han was speaking from the control center inside the construction platform. As the AI systems coordinator, she was responsible for programming all the automated systems that would run the mining platforms. The mining lasers are performing better than expected, Tae-hyung replied, still watching the assembly process. We ran the tests yesterday. They can cut through a solid iron asteroid in under 10 minutes. And anything else that might get in the way, Yoonji added quietly. Tae-hyung smiled inside his helmet. The mining lasers were indeed powerful enough to cut through asteroids. They were also powerful enough to slice through the hull of any known spacecraft. But according to all official documentation, they were simply industrial tools for legitimate mining operations. Inside the construction platform, Seokjin Jang was working on the final details of the platform's defensive systems. Officially, these were called debris clearance systems, designed to protect the mining operation from small rocks and space junk. In reality, they were sophisticated weapons that could launch projectiles at incredible speeds. How's the mass driver coming along? Hyunji asked as she reviewed the AI programming on her screens. Better than we hoped, Seokjin replied. The system can launch processed ore containers to anywhere in the solar system. The projectiles reach almost 10% of light speed by the time they leave the acceleration tunnel. Yoonji nodded. A mass driver designed to ship mining products could also launch other things. At those speeds, even a small projectile would have devastating impact. But the galactic inspectors who had reviewed the design saw only an efficient cargo delivery system. The genius of the design was in its multiple purposes. Every system on the platform had a legitimate civilian function. The powerful reactors were needed to run the energy-intensive mining operations. The advanced sensors were required to track thousands of asteroids in the chaotic environment of the belt. The automated systems were necessary because no human crew could manage such a complex operation alone. Speaking of the AI systems, Tae-hyung said as he moved to inspect another section of the platform, how are the coordination protocols working? Perfectly, Yoonji replied with satisfaction. Each platform can operate independently, but they can also work together as a coordinated fleet. The mining coordination system allows them to share information about asteroid movements, optimal processing routes, and safety threats. What she didn't say over the open radio channel was that this coordination system also allowed the platforms to function as a unified military force. They could share targeting information, coordinate attacks, and support each other in combat situations. But to any outside observer, they were simply industrial platforms sharing data about mining operations. The construction process itself was a marvel of engineering. Human technology had advanced rapidly since joining the galactic community. Access to alien materials and manufacturing techniques had allowed Earth's engineers to build things that would have been impossible just a few years earlier. But the humans had added their own innovations. The platforms used a modular design that allowed them to be reconfigured quickly. Sections could be detached and moved to new locations, or combined with other platforms to create larger installations. This flexibility was officially designed to support different types of mining operations. Unofficially, it meant the platforms could adapt to changing tactical situations. The first platform should be ready for deployment next week, Tae-hyung announced as he finished his inspection. All systems are testing within normal parameters. Define normal, Seokjin joked from inside. Normal for a mining platform that can vaporize a small moon, Tae-hyung replied quietly. The scale of the project was enormous. Each platform required materials equivalent to a small city. The construction process employed thousands of workers and dozens of automated factories. But this massive effort was hidden in plain sight. disguised as humanity's entry into large-scale space mining. The galactic community actually approved of the project. Earth's Mining Corporation had filed all the proper paperwork and paid all the required fees. The platforms were bringing valuable resources back to Earth and contributing to the galactic economy. Several alien species had even placed orders for processed materials from the human mining operations. The Vrathan trade representative was here yesterday, Yunji mentioned. He seemed very pleased with our productivity levels. I bet he was, Taehyung replied. He has no idea what he was really looking at. The Vrathan, who had pushed hardest for the restrictions on human military development, were now some of Earth's best customers. They bought processed metals and rare elements from the human mining platforms, never suspecting that they were funding the construction of the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Each platform was also designed to be largely self-sufficient. They could manufacture their own replacement parts, process their own fuel, and even build smaller automated units. This independence was officially necessary for operations in the remote asteroid belt. Practically, it meant the platforms could operate indefinitely without support from Earth. How many platforms will be operational by the end of the year? Taehyung asked. If construction continues at the current rate, we'll have 12, Yunji replied. And the new construction platforms will allow us to build even faster. We could have 50 or more within 5 years. The beauty of the system was that success bred more success. The more successful the mining operations appeared to be, the more funding and resources Earth could justify investing in additional platforms. And each new platform added to humanity's hidden military capability. Any word from Earth about deployment protocols? Seokjin asked. Still in development, Yunji answered. But the basic plan is solid. The platforms will be stationed throughout the solar system, officially to maximize mining efficiency. Each one will be positioned to protect key shipping lanes and strategic locations. Taehyung looked out at the completed sections of Platform 7. The structure was beautiful in its own way, a combination of advanced technology and human ingenuity, but it was also deadly in ways that the galactic community couldn't imagine. You know what I like best about this design? Taehyung said. What's that? Yunji asked. It's not just that we found a way around their restrictions. It's that we built something better than what they took away from us. It was true. The old human warships had been impressive for their time, but they were limited by traditional military thinking. The platforms represented a completely new approach to space warfare. They were larger, more powerful, and more flexible than any conventional warship. And because they operated as civilian industrial equipment, they could go anywhere and do anything without raising suspicion. The first deployment is scheduled for next month, Seokjin announced. Platform 1 will take position near the Jupiter shipping lanes, officially to begin mining operations in the Trojan asteroids. And unofficially? Taehyung asked. Unofficially, it will be in perfect position to control access to the outer solar system, Yunji replied. Any hostile force trying to attack Earth would have to get past our mining operations first. As Taehyung prepared to return to the construction platform, he took one last look at the massive structure floating in the darkness of space. In a few weeks it would be operational, beginning its official mission as a civilian mining platform. But he knew its true purpose was much more important. The aliens had tried to disarm humanity by taking away their warships. Instead, they had forced humans to become more creative and more dangerous than ever before. The platforms represented everything the galactic community feared about human ingenuity, hidden behind a facade of peaceful industrial development. Platform 7 to construction control, Taehyung said into his radio. Inspection complete. This mining platform is ready to begin operations. Copy that, Platform 7, came the reply. Welcome to the fleet. The alarm sounded through New Seoul Colony, just as Chaeyoung Lim was finishing her morning reports. As the colonial administrator, she had dealt with many problems during her 3 years on Kepler 442b. Equipment failures, supply shortages, medical emergencies. But nothing like this. Administrator Lim, we have multiple contacts approaching the system, came the urgent voice of her communications officer. They're not responding to our identification requests. Chaeyoung quickly made her way to the command center. The small room was filled with technicians monitoring the various systems that kept the colony running. Now they were all focused on the long-range sensors that watched the space around their planet. How many ships? She asked. 7 confirmed, the sensor operator replied. Medium-sized vessels moving fast. Their energy signatures match known pirate configurations. Chae-young felt her heart sink. The colony had only basic defenses, designed to handle small threats like smugglers or raiders. 7 pirate ships could easily overwhelm their security systems and take whatever they wanted. Or worse. Time until they reach orbit? She asked. 4 hours at current speed. Chae-young opened a communication channel to Earth. The message would take 20 minutes to reach home and another 20 for a reply. By then, the pirates would already be in orbit. But she had to try. "This is New Sol Colony requesting immediate assistance," she said into the transmitter. "We have 7 hostile vessels approaching our position. Colony defense is insufficient. Request immediate support from Galactic Council peacekeeping forces." She closed the channel and turned to her staff. "Begin evacuation protocols. Move all civilians to the underground shelters. Secure all critical data and supplies." 3 hours later, the pirate ships entered orbit around Kepler 442b. Their leader, a brutal captain named HFY, opened a communication channel to the colony. "Human settlement," his voice came through the speakers with obvious contempt. "You will transfer all valuable materials to our ships. You have 1 hour to comply, or we will take what we want by force." Chae-young stared at the screen showing the 7 ships in orbit above her. Each one was armed with weapons that could level her entire colony. She had received no reply from Earth, and the galactic peacekeepers would take days to respond if they bothered at all. "Colony to hostile vessels," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "We are a peaceful settlement under the protection of the Galactic Council. Any attack on this colony will be considered an act of war." HFY's laughter came through the speakers. "The Council protects no one, human. And your precious warships were destroyed years ago. You are defenseless." But even as he spoke, something was happening in the outer system. 3 massive structures that had been quietly mining asteroids for the past 6 months were changing course. Aboard Mining Platform 7, Yoongi Nam sat in the AI Coordination Center watching the tactical display. The platform's long-range sensors had detected the pirate ships as soon as they entered the system. Now Platform 7 and its 2 sister platforms were moving to respond. "Platform control to New Sol Colony," Yoongi transmitted on a civilian frequency. "This is Deep Space Mining Platform 7. We have detected hostile vessels in your vicinity. Please advise your situation." Chae-young nearly cried with relief when she heard the transmission. "Platform 7. This is Colony Administrator Lim. We have 7 pirate vessels in orbit demanding tribute. Our defenses are insufficient to resist." "Understood, Colony. Please stand by. We are initiating emergency debris clearance protocols to ensure safe passage through your system." Ji-won Park, the platform fleet commander, was coordinating the response from Platform 5. As Minji's younger brother, he had grown up around spacecraft and understood both their capabilities and their limitations. He also understood exactly what his mining platforms could do. "All platforms, this is Fleet Command," he transmitted on the secure AI network. "We have multiple debris hazards threatening civilian shipping in the Kepler system. Initiate standard clearance protocols. Priority target, orbital debris in Grid 77 Alpha." The 3 mining platforms moved into position with surprising speed for such massive structures. Each platform was over 3 kilometers long, but their advanced propulsion systems allowed them to maneuver like much smaller vessels. To the pirates, they appeared to be slow-moving industrial ships responding to a civilian emergency. "What are those things?" one of the pirates asked over an open channel. "Mining platforms," HFY replied dismissively. "Human industrial ships. They pose no threat." But Yoongi was already running final targeting calculations. The platform's mining lasers were charging to full power, while the debris clearance system loaded its first projectiles. According to the platform's official protocols, they were simply preparing to clear dangerous space junk that might threaten shipping lanes. "Debris clearance in progress," Yoongi announced on the civilian channel. "All vessels please maintain safe distance from operational area." The first mining laser fired with devastating precision. The beam, designed to cut through solid asteroids, struck the lead pirate ship at exactly the point where its main reactor was located. The ship simply vanished in a ball of superheated plasma. "What the hell was that?" HFY screamed over the communication channels. "Debris clearance system engaging. Multiple targets," came the calm reply from Platform 7. "Please maintain safe distance from operational." The second platform fired its mass driver, launching a tungsten projectile at 10% of light speed. The projectile, officially designed to deliver processed ore to distant markets, struck another pirate ship with the force of a small nuclear weapon. The vessel broke apart instantly. The remaining pirates finally understood what they were facing, but it was too late. The three mining platforms had positioned themselves to create overlapping fields of fire. Their advanced AI systems were sharing targeting data and coordinating attacks with mechanical precision. "They're not mining platforms," one pirate screamed. "They're warships." "Incorrect," came the automated response from Platform 5. "These are civilian industrial facilities engaged in routine safety operations. Please evacuate the debris field immediately." The pirates tried to run, but the platform's long-range sensors could track them across the entire system. One by one, the debris clearance systems eliminated each pirate vessel with clinical efficiency. The entire battle lasted less than 10 minutes. When it was over, Yoongi opened a channel to the colony. "New Sol Colony, this is Platform 7. Debris clearance operation complete. Shipping lanes are now safe for civilian traffic." Chae-young stared at her screens in amazement. 7 pirate ships had been completely destroyed by what appeared to be routine industrial operations. "Platform 7, this is incredible. How did you—" "Standard debris management protocols," Yoongi replied calmly. "The safety of civilian shipping is our primary concern. We will now begin processing the remaining debris to prevent future hazards." True to their word, the platforms began salvaging useful materials from the destroyed pirate ships. Their massive cargo holds could store enormous amounts of processed materials, and their automated systems could break down almost anything into its component elements. Within hours, all traces of the pirate attack had been eliminated. The platforms had processed every piece of debris, salvaged every useful component, and filed detailed reports about their routine maintenance operations in the Kepler system. On Earth, Jiho Kim received the reports with satisfaction. The first real test of the mining platforms had been a complete success. Not only had they protected a human colony, but they had done it while maintaining perfect cover as civilian industrial operations. "Any response from the Galactic Council?" Minji asked as they reviewed the incident reports. "The usual bureaucratic concerns about proper filing procedures," Jiho replied. "They're more worried about paperwork than the fact that we just eliminated 7 pirate ships. And the Vrathan?" "Ambassador Veltar filed a complaint about unauthorized debris clearance in the Kepler system," Jiho said with a smile. "He wants to ensure that all industrial operations follow proper safety protocols." Minji laughed. "He has no idea what just happened, does he?" "None of them do," Jiho confirmed. "They see exactly what we want them to see. Efficient civilian mining operations that happen to be very good at cleaning up space debris." The news of the pirate elimination spread quickly through human space. Other colonies began requesting mining platform support for their systems. Officially, they wanted protection from asteroid impacts and space debris. Unofficially, they wanted the same protection that New Sol Colony had just received. "How many more platforms can we deploy?" Jiho asked. "Construction is ahead of schedule," Minji replied. "We'll have 15 operational platforms by the end of the year, with plans for 50 more. And each success makes it easier to justify expanding the program." "Good," Jiho said, "because I have a feeling this won't be the last time our mining equipment needs to clear dangerous debris." In the weeks that followed, pirate attacks on human colonies mysteriously stopped. Word had spread through the criminal underworld about the fate of Vexhi's fleet. No one was sure exactly what had destroyed them, but everyone agreed that attacking human settlements had become a very dangerous occupation. The Galactic. 1 year after the incident at New Sol Colony, Ambassador Veltar sat in his office on the Galactic Council station, staring at reports that made no sense. His gray skin had taken on an even paler shade as he read through the latest intelligence updates about human activities. "This cannot be correct," he muttered to his aide, a younger Vrathan named Kextal. "According to these reports, piracy in human space has dropped by 97% in the past year." "The reports are confirmed, sir," Kextal replied nervously. "No pirate attacks on human colonies or shipping for the past 8 months. Criminal organizations are actively avoiding human-controlled systems." Veltar looked up from his desk. "But humans have no military fleet. We made sure of that. How are they protecting themselves?" "The official explanation is improved shipping lane safety," Kextal said, consulting his own tablet. The human mining platforms have been very effective at clearing space debris and managing traffic in their systems. Mining platforms, Veltar repeated slowly. He had been hearing that phrase more and more often lately. Show me the latest reports on these operations. Kextal activated the office's holographic display. A three-dimensional map of human space appeared, showing the locations of dozens of massive industrial platforms scattered throughout their territory. Each platform was officially registered as civilian mining equipment, operating under proper galactic commercial licenses. 53 platforms currently operational, Kextal reported. Construction of 20 more in progress. Production rates are exceeding all projections. Human mining operations are now supplying processed materials to over 40 different species. Veltar studied the map carefully. The platforms were positioned throughout human space, but their locations seemed almost too convenient. They covered every major shipping lane, protected every important colony, and controlled access to key strategic positions. This placement pattern, Veltar said slowly, it looks almost military. Sir, these are civilian industrial operations, Kextal reminded him. They're engaged in legitimate mining activities. We've inspected the operations multiple times. Yes, I know, Veltar replied with growing frustration. Every inspection confirms that they're exactly what they claim to be. Mining platforms with powerful industrial equipment designed for asteroid processing. What he didn't say was that these inspections had become increasingly uncomfortable. The human operators were always polite and cooperative, providing complete documentation for every system and operation. But there was something about the platforms that made Veltar deeply uneasy. On Earth, Jiho Kim was reading similar reports with much more satisfaction. He sat in his new office as Director of Human Space Assets, a position that officially managed civilian space operations, but unofficially coordinated humanity's hidden defense network. The latest efficiency reports just came in, Minji said as she entered his office. Her role as Chief Engineer of Deep Space Operations gave her oversight of all platform construction and deployment. Platform productivity is up 15% this quarter. And the other benefits? Jiho asked. Piracy down to nearly zero. Shipping insurance rates in human space are now the lowest in the galaxy. 3 more species have requested permission to route their cargo through our systems because they're so much safer. Jiho smiled. And they still don't understand why our space is so safe. The platforms are performing exactly as designed, Minji confirmed. Every system has multiple layers of protection, all disguised as routine industrial operations. Anyone threatening human shipping gets classified as dangerous debris and processed accordingly. The genius of the system had become even more apparent over time. The platforms didn't just protect human space, they made it profitable. Other species paid premium prices for the safety and efficiency that human shipping lanes provided. This revenue funded the construction of even more platforms, creating a self-sustaining cycle of expansion. Speaking of which, Minji continued, we've received 3 formal requests from other species asking for advice on improving their own space safety operations. Which species? Jiho asked with interest. The Korthani Republic, the Zilani Federation, and surprisingly the Breathan Empire. Jiho raised an eyebrow. The Breathan want our help? The same species that voted for the restrictions on human military development? Apparently, their shipping losses to pirates have increased significantly since criminals started avoiding human space, Minji explained. They want to know how our debris management systems are so effective. I take it we're being helpful? Of course, Minji said with a grin. We've offered to sell them consulting services on industrial safety protocols. For a very reasonable fee, we can teach them how to build their own mining platforms. The irony was perfect. The same species that had tried to keep humanity disarmed were now paying humans to teach them how to build similar systems. Of course, they would only get civilian mining technology, not the advanced military capabilities that human platforms secretly possessed. Any word from the Galactic Council? Jiho asked. Ambassador Veltar has been asking a lot of questions about our operations, Minji replied. But everything we're doing is completely legal under galactic law. He can't find any violations because there aren't any. This was the most beautiful part of the plan. Humanity hadn't broken a single galactic law. Every platform was exactly what it claimed to be. Civilian mining equipment operated by commercial corporations. The fact that this equipment could also eliminate any threat to human space was simply a side benefit of good engineering. On the Galactic Council station, Veltar was meeting with the other ambassadors to discuss what they were calling the human situation. Representatives from dozens of species sat around the circular chamber, all expressing concerns about humanity's rapid expansion. Their mining operations are becoming too successful, complained the Zelani ambassador. They're dominating the processed materials market across 3 sectors. And their shipping lanes are too safe, added the Korthani representative. Pirates and raiders are being driven into our space because they can't operate in human territory. But what law are they breaking? Asked the Yalaran delegate. Every inspection confirms that these are legitimate civilian operations. Veltar stood to address the assembly. The problem is not what they're doing. The problem is what they're capable of doing. These platforms have capabilities that exceed many military fleets. Industrial capabilities, the Brathan ambassador corrected, designed for mining operations. Industrial capabilities that can clear a debris field of 7 pirate ships in 10 minutes, Veltar replied sharply. The chamber fell silent. Everyone had heard about the incident at the human colony, but the official reports classified it as routine safety operations. Still, the implications were disturbing. Are you suggesting that humans are violating the military restrictions? The Yalaran delegate asked. I'm suggesting that we may have made an error in how we defined those restrictions, Veltar admitted reluctantly. Meanwhile, on Platform 7, Yungi Nam was conducting his daily operations review. The massive mining platform had just completed processing a large asteroid field, producing tons of valuable materials that would be shipped throughout the galaxy. But his real focus was on the security reports. Any unusual activity in the sector? He asked his operations team. Nothing significant, came the reply. A few smugglers tried to set up operations near the Jupiter route, but they left when our sensors detected them. Good, Yungi said. Make sure they understand that our debris clearance systems maintain very high safety standards. The platforms had become so effective that most threats to human space never even materialized. Pirates and raiders had learned that entering human territory was extremely hazardous to their health. Word had spread through criminal networks that human space was protected by invisible guardians that could strike without warning. Platform 7 to Earth Control. Yungi transmitted. Daily operations report. All mining quotas exceeded. All shipping lanes secure. No debris clearance required. On Earth, Jiho received the report with satisfaction. 53 platforms were now operational, with more coming online every month. Each one was larger and more capable than the last as human engineers continued to improve their mining technology. The next phase of construction is ready to begin, Minji reported. The new platforms will be even larger, with enhanced processing capabilities. Enhanced processing capabilities, Jiho repeated with amusement. Is that what we're calling the new weapon systems? Debris management systems, Minji corrected. Very advanced debris management systems designed for handling increasingly complex safety challenges. The beautiful thing was that every advancement was justified by legitimate mining needs. As operations expanded into more dangerous regions of space, the platforms needed better sensors, more powerful systems, and greater autonomous capabilities. The fact that these improvements also made them more formidable military assets was simply a happy coincidence. Any response from the Galactic Council about our expansion plans? Jiho asked. They've approved all our applications, Minji replied. Apparently, our success in the mining industry is seen as a positive contribution to the galactic economy. Veltar would have been horrified to know that his own government had approved funding for